So self-preservation or self-defense, whatever we try to do in our life, towards maintaining health, towards maintaining relationship, or achieving goals, towards getting wealth, always want to protect ourselves from the dangers. So now the question is, what is the self that we are trying to preserve? What is the nature of self? That is where today we will see the flow of wisdom from Bhagavan Krishna to Arjuna starts from second chapter 11th verse onwards. The understanding of the true self, that is what we all need. And in our day-to-day life, what happens is basically we all are driven by thoughts, we all are driven by emotions. So through the influence of thoughts and emotions, we do the actions. You all agree with me, right? Thoughts, emotions, and we derive actions out of these. And if you don't know the true self, that our own true identity, what will happen is basically we all will be under the influence of thoughts and emotions. We all will get affected with the thoughts and emotions. If we are driven by thoughts and emotions, and if we are missing knowing our true identity, the true self, thoughts and emotions will always drive us, and our actions will be always influenced by the thoughts and emotions. And what happens? We always try to, or there would be a tendency to escape from the real life. Dealing with the real problems, we will try to find a route to escape. What happens basically when we are driven by thoughts and emotions? We are not operating with our true strength. We will not have courage to, or we will not have the strength to face those challenges. That is the issue with Arjuna here. So that's where the Gita Jnanam starts today. We can see that verse from Bhagavan Krishna to Arjuna, that know the true self. This is the grand reality that we all should know. If you know this grand reality, then we will have a different dimension in life. Whatever we try to do for the self-preservation or defense, we will be able to inculcate the profound dimension of the grand reality behind everything. So otherwise what happens is, when we are driven by thoughts, emotions, and when we are driven by the world, what happens is our strength will deteriorate and fear will go up. So the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is know yourself. Develop that. Because it is not that easy, because the influence of mind, the influence of thoughts, influence of emotions, influence of our upbringing, influence of our inner traits. So we have to fight the war against these and know our true identity, know our true self. This is the development text. Bhagavad Gita as a scripture is the text for all of us to develop the self. In fact, that self is already there. When I say develop the self, know the true self. Know yourself. Develop the capabilities to know that. You don't need to bring anything from outside. Only the clutters we have to remove. So know that self. Now the problem is, now we have identified ourselves with something else. That is what we, in the Vedantic term, assuming the personalities. That is what we all are doing. Because when we deal in this material world, we take different responsibilities, different roles as a father, as a mother, as a professional, as a neighbor, as a social entrepreneur, different things, right? So that is where we assume different personalities and we drift away from our true core. So we were going through the verses up till 5th, I think. So verse number 4 to 8 of 2nd chapter, Sankhya Yoga. If you see, Arjuna basically, so you can see Arjuna Vaja, right? So 4 to 8, if you see, Arjuna is responding to Bhagavan Krishna. How will I fight against my gurus and the dear ones? Because if you see them, Bhishma, Drona, etc., I have a great reverence. And as a person, I owe everything to them. I have got a reverence to these people because they are gurus. They are gurus and Pidama. And if you see from a Kuru Vamsha perspective, I owe everything to them. I owe everything to that Vamsha. So here Arjuna is identifying himself with the smaller I. He is trying to bundle, or he is trying to assume a personality towards those relationships, and he himself is assuming the personality of a smaller I. When I say smaller I is the ego, not the real I, not the real capital I. It's a smaller I. Identification with the lower self. That is why he says, I cannot do anything, and it is better to, surrender to them. Because what will happen even if I succeed? So basically, what is happening is leading to the mamatva buddhi. Mindness is really putting Arjuna to drift away from the dharma buddhi. So first message of Bhagavad Gita to us is basically know yourself, and second message is basically do your swadharmam with courage, with that knowledge, with the self knowledge. Do your swadharmam, do your right duties with courage. Here Arjuna is now undergoing the mental slavery. Mental slavery due to the sense habits, mental slavery due to the ego. So first problem is basically Arjuna is not aware of the true self, and due to the mamatva buddhi, the dharma buddhi is coming down, and he is drifting away from the swadharmam. Swadharmam of a true yodha is to protect, whereas Arjuna is trying to run away. So now Arjuna further continues. Let us see the verse number 6. Na chaidat vitmak kataranno geriyo yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyu yaneva hatva na jijivishama te avastida pramukhe dharta rashtra. So, what is better for me? Again, the confusion is coming. What is better for me? We should we conquer them, or that they should conquer us? They should defeat us. or should we defeat them? And what will happen? The sons of, here it is Dhritarashtra, the sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying whom we will indeed not like to leave, stand facing us to be killed. So now Arjuna is in the state of utter despondency. I am not going to get anything, so let me become a loser here. He himself is putting in a situation, we can say, loss-win. Let Dharmaputra, let Duryodhana and team win. For me, there is no point. Let them conquer. So he himself is putting the situation like lose-win. Correct. So Arjuna is basically now, as I mentioned before, identifying himself with the lower I. Lower I meaning what? There is no self-confidence. There is a wrong understanding that is getting ruled in Arjuna, because he is thinking about the consequences. He is drifting away from the dharmic duty. Mamakaram or mamatvam is coming and drifting away from the dharmic duty. No self-confidence. So now Arjuna's Gurutvam, the association with Bhagavan Krishna. So that is where we all should understand in our life. When we face this kind of situations, God appears in us through some friends or contacts or real life experiences or scriptures or gurus to take us out of this confusion and show the right direction. In Arjuna's case, Arjuna positioned Bhagavan Krishna in front of him. In one of the Upanishads, we can see this verse, Hiranmayena patrena satyasya. So when we look at the sun in front of us, we will not see the shadow in front of us. Our shadow will be always behind us. We will only see that glory of the person, glory of the Guru. So here Bhagavan Krishna becoming the charioteer of Arjuna. Arjuna himself positioned Bhagavan Krishna in front of him so that the weaknesses will not appear. Though the despondency of Arjuna came out as the first chapter, the Guru, the proper Guru, the Avijnata Sakha, the one who is a Jnani, as Bhagavan Krishna, is the one who is helping Arjuna to take out of this kind of a situation. So now verse number 7, very, very important verse. Karpanya dosho bhadas svabhava pritchami tvam dharma sammudha cheda yachreyasyan nischidam bruhitanme Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Karpanya dosha ubahada svabhava pruchami tvam dharma sammudha chedha yat shreya syad nischidam bruhi tat me shishyaha te aham shadimam tvam prapannam. Bhagavan, my inner nature is clouded, is overshadowed. Karpanya dosha. overshadowed, my inner nature, the true self is clouded or overshadowed by the weak sympathy and pity. So Arjuna is now admitting what? Admitting the psychological shattering. Kripana avastha. Kripana meaning we can have n number of profound meanings. Vedantam gives different meanings actually. Let us try to understand one by one. So the psychological shattering of Arjuna, that is what Arjuna is facing now. So he himself is admitting that I am undergoing a terrible psychological shattering. I'm not able to think, I'm not able to act. Thoughts, emotions are really driving me so that I am not able to take any proper action. The dharma buddhi itself is not enabling me to do the work. Kripana avastha. So here Kripanan is one who lacks understanding of the higher nature, the true self. The one who lacks the Swarupa Jnana. Swarupam is the true self, our true nature, our true core, the Satyam within all of us. So that true nature is clouded or influenced by the mind and ego, because that is what it's ruling Arjuna now. And this mind and ego is now ruling and creating the extreme confusion. That is where he is not clear of what is dharma and what is adharma. The person who came with a lot of josh to the war field now is saying that I don't see anything in fighting. And also making all those illogical points. That basically shows the extreme confusion. And this extreme confusion happened due to what? The mamagaratvam, where the mind and ego both are ruling the person. Not clear about dharma, what is adharma, what is dharma. Also, not only that, whether to fight or not. See? So what is lacking? The need of a rational judgment is really lacking. That is what the immediate solution should be, right? There is no time. In the war field, we have to take action. In life also it's like that. Sometimes you have to take very critical decisions in our life at that appropriate point of time. We cannot just leave it like that. Need a kind of a rational judgment then and there. This is the immediate thing that has to be happening in Arjuna. So my will is paralyzed and I am utterly confused. So tell me what is or which is the better path for me, hey Bhagavan. Let me be your Shishya, disciple. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. So, with this confused, paralyzed mind, I take the total refuge in you. You tell me which is the better path for me. Let me become your disciple. I have fallen at your feet, our Lord. Give me the instructions. So here Arjuna declares that in my capacity I will not be able to do anything beyond this. I need the real directions from you, the Guru. I take refuge in you, the Lord. So this is the Prapatti, this is the Sharanagati, this is the Bhakti, this is the devotion. And Vijnana Saradi as Krishna, Arjuna has already positioned Bhagavan. So that way the wisdom will flow. Bhagavan will take care of Arjuna. But again, to conclude, I will not fight further. Arjuna says, Nahi Prabhasyami Mamapanudyad Yachogam Uchoshanam Indriyanam Avapya Bhumava Asapatnam Rutham Rajyam Suranam Abhi Chadipathyam. So, even if, right, I don't see any sort of prosperity after, even if I take the kingdom, even if I were to obtain the unchallenged sovereign emperorship of the whole earth, or even Indriyanam, yeah. So here Uchoshanam Indriyanam. Indriyanam is basically what? Here in this context of all prosperity, right? Indra is the, Deva Indra, right? Lordship over all the Devas. Or even if I get an unchallenged sovereign emperorship of the whole earth, or become the emperor, become the lord of all Devas, I don't see it wiping away the grief that parches my senses, because I am totally dried up. I don't see anything. I don't see any point in fighting this war. So he himself, Arjuna himself, admits that I am totally under the influence of ego and emotions and thoughts. So I honestly surrender to you, Lord. I don't see anything. This is what I could think, and I cannot make any, summary. So I need your direction. So that is where, now from verse number 11 onwards, we will see the, the wisdom flowing from Bhagavan Krishna happens. So here Sanjaya is basically giving the live commentary to Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva rishikesham gudhakesha parantapa nayotsya idi govindam uktva tushnim babhuvaha. So I don't see anything. Sanjaya says that having spoken this to Eva Muktva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa. So having spoken this to Rishikesha, Gudakesha said, "Oh Govinda, right? Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babhuva. I shall not fight," and remained silent. I don't want to fight. No more such desire-oriented act I want to do. I don't have any ambitions. So here, who is Gudakesha? Gudakesha is Arjuna. Gudakesha, meaning the one who controlled the sleep through yoga. This is the right meaning. In this context, the one who has controlled the sleep, in this case sleep is ignorance, through yoga. This is the potential, and in the past also Arjuna overcome all those problems, and in this case, Arjuna is now confused due to the mamatva buddhi. That is where the dharma buddhi has come down. Ego and emotions are driving Arjuna, and with the right guru, he is seeking the advice, what next, show me the right direction. So you need to understand that Arjuna is not a silly person. He is a Maharada, Yodha. The one who controlled the sleep, controlled the ignorance through yoga. And who is here? Who is Govinda here? Govinda is the Rishikeshan, who is the Lord Krishna, Jnani, who is Jnani, and Rishikeshan. Rishikeshan meaning what? Here the one who has got the control over his senses. Meaning, the true intelligence that is behind the senses, behind the Panja Jnanendriyam, Panja Karmendriyam. And who is Krishna here? Krishna is the consciousness. Who is the Adhipan of all Indriyam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, you can see Bhagavan Sarvabhudanam Adhyaksho Avasthido Guha. Who is Lord? Lord is the Adhyaksha, who is the master. Bhagavan Sarvabhudanam Adhyaksho Avasthido Guha. Sitting in the cave of our heart. Doesn't mean that it's a physical heart and consciousness is it. Consciousness is the ever-pervading truth, and we are in that. And our true identity is that. And who is Krishna? Krishna is the Jnani who has conquered or controlled all the senses. Who is the true Jnani? Vijnana Sarathi here. So, Arjuna's request is basically, it's not something like, tell me which is this plan A or plan B or plan C, or not like that. Until, you take me out of this ajnana, I will not fight. You show me the right direction, right? You take me out of this darkness. You take me out of this ajnana. Until and unless that happens, I will not fight. So take me out of this limitation that I am having now. Take me out of this clouded thinking which I am undergoing now. Take me out of the stage where I will not have sorrows. Because he is now deeply in the situation of a sorrowful state. Arjuna is in a deep sorrow state. So here I take refuge in you. Tamuvaja Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharada, verse number 10. Senayorubhayor madhye Vishidandamidam vacha. So Sanjaya further continues with the commentary. Oh, who is this? To whom this commentary is given? To the Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya says that to Dhritarashtra, positioned between Senayor Ubhayor Madhya, between the two armies, right? And Tamuvaja Rishikesha Prahasanniva Bharata. So we are Bharata meaning Dhritarashtra. Position between these two armies, they are in the middle of this, right? So here the Rishikesha, who is Rishikesha? Bhagavan Krishna. You can see the term here, Prahasan Iva. Prahasan. Prahasan meaning with a smiling face. We need to understand this smiling is basically the hope that Bhagavan shows that Arjuna will come out of this. So Asif, a kind of a smiling, Prahasan, spoke Idam Vaja. Spoke to whom? Spoke to the Arjuna who is despondent. So now from 2:11 onwards, the real Srimad Bhagavad Gita's wisdom starts flowing. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocya Nanvashocastvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gadasu Nagadamsumscha Nanushocanti Pandita. So the real teaching now begins. So from here, Bhagavan Bhashyagaran Adi Shankara Bhagavad did the commentary of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. You are grieving for those who should not be grieved for. You are now speaking like a jnani. You speak the words of wisdom. The wise do not grieve for those who are gone. Gadasoon, agadasoon cha. The wise do not grieve for those who are gone and who are not yet gone. So you are grieving for those who should not be grieved for. So here the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita, as I mentioned before, self-knowledge. This is the subject matter. Atma Jnanam. The issue of Arjuna is he got trapped into the sorrowful state. And the only remedy to come out of the sorrow is to have the self-knowledge, know your true self, Atma Jnanam. So, here the term Pandita, Nanu Shochanti Pandita. Who is a Panditan? The one who knows Atma. Or we can say the one who knows the difference between Atma and Anatma. You are talking like a Panditan, where a Panditan will never grieve for those who are not to be grieved for. So here Arjuna is not knowing the difference between the Atma Anatma Vivegam. Arjuna's sorrow is mainly due to the Avivegam. Arjuna's sorrow is due to the ignorance, absence of Atma Anatma Vivegam. So here when we say Atma Anatma Vivegam, one who dies is one who is subject to death. Therefore, the one who will die dies, and the one who will not die does not die. What is the meaning here? What is subject to death? What is not subject to death? So what is not subject to death will always remain. And what is subject to death will not. What is the implication? Body is subject to death. The life is not subject to death. The jiva is not subject to death. The atma is not subject to death. Whereas the body is subject to death. So, without knowing that, the grief that you are having is not legitimate. So, from a practical person's point of view, sorrow is not going to make any sense. And for the one who believes that jiva continues after the death of the body, sorrow is also not a problem, because the jiva itself does not die. Anvashocha, na shochaya, ashochya. Those about whom we should not grieve. So here, shogam is due to what? Shogam is due to the ignorance. Grief is due to the delusion and ignorance, and that is the root of suffering. Because you don't know your true self, the inner self. Your truth is clouded. Your truth is clouded with the dirt of ego, emotions. Your truth is ruled by those, non-truthful things. Your truth is trying to be ruled by non-truthful things. Your Satyam is clouded with Mithya. Meaning what? You are thinking that body, mind, intellect, senses, these are the reality, and you are not thinking about the reality behind this that makes life. So a Panditan is very much clear. He has the Atma Vidya, he has got the self-knowledge. You are talking like a Pandita and saying that, I cannot fight because death is inevitable. What is death? Death is applicable for the body. Death is applicable for the mind. Death is applicable for the intellect. Death is applicable for the senses. But you cannot kill that will never die. So, Arjuna's issue, we all, feel different issues in our life when we are trapped in our limiting beliefs. And as human beings, we always try to think in a sociological way. Sociological thinking is one thing which is really, affecting our, the right way of living. When we say sociological thinking, the patterns behind our habitual thoughts, words, actions, emotions, egos, upbringing, the traits, the vasanas. So this limitation or this sociological thinking with the influence of these things is called as the Kripana Avastha, because we are not knowing our true self, we are drifting away from that. And due to the Kripana Avastha, what happens is the inner richness is coming down and we are not able to act in life. Basically, Arjuna is thinking or seeing Arjuna from the world than he is seeing the world. Right? We all have this kind of issues in life. We always, think what others will consider, what others will think, what am I or where am I positioned from the world. We are not positioning the world, we are positioned from the outlook of the world. We all are under the influence of Prakriti. We all are under the influence of Vyavaharam. We all are under the influence of the centrifugal, right? At the outer exterior force. And we are drifting away from the core, Purushan. We are drifting away from the centripetal. We are drifting away from the Paramarthika Satyam. We are drifting away from the true core. We are always trying to position us from the plane of Prakriti, from the objective characters or characteristics. Whereas we are the Purushan, we are the subjective consciousness. And what happens is basically when we don't understand that subjective consciousness, when we forget the Purushan, what happens is mind will try to drift away. So mind in the absence of that subjective consciousness will always be conditioned. Mind will always be galvanized. Mind will always be distorted. So where we have to work on the mind to connect with that Purushan. That's why it's called Sankhya Yoga. The Sankhya is basically the wisdom of life. So here consciousness is not the object, consciousness is the subject. Prakriti is not the subject, Prakriti is the object. And we are the Purushan, we are the indivisible consciousness that cannot be killed. And that consciousness is never a part or a property of the body, mind, intellect, sense complex. And we are the Purushan and we have to be guided by the Purushan. When we say the Radha Sankalpam, the intellect, the Vijnana Sarathi, Krishna, who is the consciousness, should drive the Jiva. And if we are under the control of those horses, the reins where the mind, which is not controlled by the Vijnana Sarathi, which is not controlled by the consciousness, will take that or take those horses to wherever they want. So the Vijnana Sarathi should drive us, the real Krishna should drive us. That is where Arjuna positioned Bhagavan Krishna in front of him in the chariot to guide him. And who is Krishna? Krishna is our inner consciousness. He is the universal consciousness. He is the Bodham, Bodha Surupan. So for the body and mind to work in optimal condition, you need to get the instruction from that inner self. That is where know about yourself. That is what is needed. And we are not the mind, we are not the body. They are not you, it is yours. It is my body, it is my mind. And this is the freedom that we have. When we know this true self, we will be able to think, act, feel with that self-knowledge. That will create impact in all of us. So, if we are controlled by the body, mind, intellect, senses, we all are prone to be fragile. That is the state of Karpanya Avastha. That is what Arjuna also declared, that I am in that state. So what I need a strong well-being. I need to come out of this sorrow. I need to come out of this problem. So this is what Bhagavan says, a Pandita is the one who knows what is going to be there every time, what is not going to be there, what is Anatma, Atma Vivegam. So we all should become Pandita. What is that? Shift from the body, mind, intellect, sense complex to the true self, the Purushan, the consciousness. That is the Satyam within all of us. That is where Bhagavan is called, the God is called as the Adhyakshan, the Master. This is the reference that I take from Srimad Bhagavata, Chadusloki Bhagavata. So when we are identified with the body, mind, senses, etc., what happens? We are prone to be sorrowful in life. So lack of ignorance is the problem. So owning up Purushan as I, the real truth, the real self as the true I. And that is the subject of all experiences. Can you deny that? What is happening in the deep sleep? What is happening in the Jagrat? Body, sense, intellect, mind, everything is working. What is happening in the Swapna Avastha? Mind is only active, other things are dormant. Who is seeing the dream? Your mind is seeing the dream. Where mind is operating from? What happens in the deep sleep? Absence of mind, absence of body, intellect, everything, no identity. What happens there? The real bliss happens there, but in ignorance. So here, our true self is as per Advaita Vedantam, Tattvamasi. You are not different from that. So the God, again from Chadusloki Bhagavatam, Bhagavam Sarva Bhudanam Adhyaksho Avasthido Guha. God is the permanent existence, Ubadrishta, Purushan, who is always existing. And you are that truth. Because there is not even a time that you are becoming forgetful. You know, even if you come out of a sleep, I slept peacefully. It was a very nice sleep. You, the consciousness, is able to go to the past or to the future. Your body has changed completely. Your mind has got changed completely. You can also see the changes happening in the mind. You can see the changes happening in the body. You can see the changes happening in your emotion. You can see the changes happening in your anxiety. So God, the Atma, the permanent existence, the one who always seamlessly connect, and always available also. Right? So you can see this in the 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, but otherwise also, the Sruti again says, Deho Devalaya Prapto Jivo Deva Sanadana. So it is always available. The truth is always there. So the Panditan is a Jnani, the one who is having this self-knowledge. With that knowledge, a Panditan operates in the world and will not grieve. We all are really manifested in this consciousness. In this infinite consciousness, we are all manifested beings. And we are not limited with this body. That is where we should know what is Atma, Anatma. The discrimination that we have to have is the Atma, Anatma, Vivekam. To go from the lower I to the higher truth. And this is possible only to human beings. And when we should start seeing this, as per Srimad Bhagavata, as per Prahalada, Kaumara Acharet Prajnaha, we have to start knowing this. This is not an external knowledge, or this is not something that you have to research or find out. And Srimad Bhagavad again says that Brahmava Loga Dishanam Mudamapa Deva. This is the kind of a capability given to the human beings, and but only few will utilize it. So one has to transcend the body, mind, intellect, sense complex. Again, in the Kenopanishad, you can see the beautiful verse when the Shishya asks Guru, who am I? There Rishi says, Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manoyat, Vajo Havajam Sau Pranasya Pranaha, Chakshusha Chakshur Adimuchadira, Pretyasmat Logat Amruda. You are the Purishan, you are not the Prakriti, you are the changeless substratum. And you can see the continuously changing characteristics outside. You see, Shrotrasya Shrotra, the ear of the ears, Manaso Mano, the mind of the minds, Vajo Havajam, the word of the words, Sau Pranasya Prana, the prana of all pranas, Chakshusha Chakshur, the eye, the ear of the ears, the eye, Chakshusha Chakshur, eye of the eyes, the real eye. Who is seeing that? Who is seeing the changes? Who is the one which is not changing? The one who understands Adimuchadira, Pretyasma, Logat, Amruda. The one who understands is becoming a Jnani, he becomes Amrita Jnani. The one who understands will go away from the limited beliefs and sociological thinking. And their judgment will not be based on the objective world. They are not conditioned. They are not sensory perceptible creatures. They have always a correct perception. So what is the problem of Arjuna? This is the problem of all of us. Lack of Atma, Anatma, Vivekam. And not only that, know and abide in that self. So that is where the subject matter of Gita is only one thing, self-knowledge, nothing else. You grieve for those who are not to be grieved for. And you speak all those wisdom. And the wise will never grieve for those who are gone or who are not yet gone. Your problem is what? Your problem is the limiting beliefs. You are sorrowful, shocyam. So Gita again says, Ma Shuja, don't grieve in life. You do not have a cause for sorrow from both a relative or an absolute standpoint, Arjuna, because wise do not grieve, do not entertain any grief. So the Panditan, he is who is having the self-knowledge, and you are talking like a Pandita, but no. And Arjuna is, completely confused, and he is revolving around the death and all those, consequences of that. So you need to know the Atma, Anatma, Vivegam. Atma is natural to you, and Atma is not having any death. And Atma will never cause any sorrows, and you are drifting away from that Atma. That is why you are confused, and your mind and emotions and thoughts are driving you. So is this sorrow going to help? No. So death to body can happen, and but what is not going to die is the Atma. You need to know that. Ashochananvashocastam prajnavadamsha bhashase gadasu nagadam sumscha nanushojanti panditam. Just started Atma, Anatma, Vivegam, and Panditan is the one who knows this Atma, Anatma, Vivegam. And what will die, what will not die. If you know this, there will not be any sorrows in you, because your true nature is also that which will never die. And if you know that, then you will not talk about death and don't get scared. So our true nature is that self. We are beyond all the limitations of body, mind, intellect, senses. Tattvamasi, you are that. Now we are identifying ourselves with all those assumed personalities, all those assumptions that we make in life. I am a limited being, I don't have this capability, I am born and brought up in this family, that family where we did not get that sort of an exposure, I don't have money, I am suffering, and due to this, due to that. These all are the kind of superimpositions that we are creating around our true self, where true self is not at all the cause of any sorrows, because that true self is the source of Shanti, happiness. That is what we all are experiencing in the deep sleep. There is no state of sorrow there in our deep sleep, because our indriyas, our ego, our emotions are not working. Everything gets plunged into that reality when we are in the deep sleep. And we get the maximum happiness there. But we are not knowing. In the Ajnanam we are having this. So, know that true self. And that true self is the cause of all happiness. It is the possibility of everything that we can imagine. It is the widest, or we should not say widest, it is the possibility of everything. That is our true capability, it is our true sense, it is our true knowledge, it is our true self, which is not having any limitations. Death can happen to the body, because body came, body will go. Body, mind, intellect, senses, everything. So know your true self. A Panditan is the one who knows that. So Bhagavan Krishna is trying to elevate Arjuna's thinking that you be a Pandita, you be a yogi, you be a jnani. Don't grieve, ma shucha. Have the Atma Jnanam. This is the only one wisdom Bhagavad Gita gives to us. And all are related to this. We'll see these verses in the subsequent sessions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.